Hello, welcome to another episode of On the Floor with Wayne and Rob. I'm Wayne Highlander, National Sales Manager for Bona Adhesives.
And I'm Rob Johnson from Bona Training, and I'll try not to breathe too hard because I know it upsets Wayne, the old tool.
Hey, you old demented monkey, how you doing?
Old demented monkey.
You ever watch King of Queens?
Love that show.
The funniest episode I've ever seen is the old man, which I love the old man, I can't remember, Arthur. He overheard his son talking about him on the telephone, and his son called him an old demented circus monkey. And he heard him, but he wasn't sure if he quite heard him or not. So then he started calling everybody an old demented circus monkey. Like that was just like a thing he told everybody. But his dad was his father-in-law was giving him the cold shoulder. I just thought it was one of the funniest damn episodes.
That was a really funny show.
Yeah.
I was sorry to see that one go.
Yep.
So, how was your weekend? What'd you do?
It was okay. Pretty uneventful. Went to a little bit of a party at my sister-in-law's house, which started out pretty good, but it was the strangest thing. It was her, me, and Judy, and then they invited this other couple. It was a mother and a daughter. It wasn't really a party. It was like a dinner, right? And she's a wonderful cook, right? So it was me and Judy, her sister, and this mother-daughter team that came over for dinner, right? Who I'd never met before. Anna's cooking all day, making a nice dinner, whatever. And then she puts appetizers out on the table, okay? And she's a great cook. One of the appetizers is like asparagus, like charred asparagus or whatever. And she had this sauce that she made for them, really fancy sauce, right? I thought, oh, I love asparagus. I'm looking forward to this. So they kind of pass them around. The lady that I don't know takes a bite, and double dips. Okay? So that catches my attention right away. Her daughter takes one. She also double dips. My sister-in-law takes one, and she does the same. The evening is ruined. You know what I mean?
Did they never see the Seinfeld episode?
Nobody, I don't know, but nobody.
How did you not know? That's changed the world for everybody. That Seinfeld episode about double dipping, change it for me. I'd never do it again.
How in this day and age you know that's not right? It's not that now I don't want any, okay? I just don't want any now. But now I also want to stand up and go, what the hell's the matter with you people? What kind of animal would do that? You don't know me, I don't know you. Like if Judy did, Judy would never do that.
You should have stuck your finger right in there, swirled it around.
Yeah.
There. Now,
yeah,
okay?
Yeah. Are we all happy now?
Everybody happy?
Yeah, we're all going to die from the same thing.
Yeah. Way to pass COVID around, everybody.
Yeah. And then we came home, and then on Sunday, I something of all the years that I've had this cat. We only have the one female cat. Of all the years I've had it, I've noticed that that's something that she does this weekend, and I've tried it out several times, and I wasn't aware of this. If she's sitting down on the couch, no matter if the couch is 5 feet long, no matter where I come and sit down on the couch, she'll get up and leave right away. It happens every single time. If she's sitting on the couch and I sit next to her, she'll get up and leave. If I sit on the farthest end of the couch, she'll look at me and get up and leave.
Are you sure it's just the cat, or it's just not women in general?
No, it's the cat. I mean, it's not good for your self-esteem, Rob. And you know, my wife.
It's pretty rotten if a cat can bring you down.
Well,
if a cat can bring down your self-esteem,
you got problems. You already have problems.
I think there's other issues going on. Yeah,
maybe that's the truth. But when I you know what hand warmers are when you go fishing? Like you get hand warmers, you open up the package and you activate them.
Yeah,
and they still warm all day, right? So my wife has never lived in California. You don't need hand warmers, right? She's never experienced them before in her life. So I came home from fishing one day, and they were in my pocket. So she reached in my pocket to, she's cleaning stuff up, whatever. And she goes, "Oh my God, what are these?" I said, "Oh, they're hand warmers." She goes, "Oh my God, these are fantastic. How'd you get these?" I said, "Well, you go to Bass Pro Shop." She goes, I have to have these." Since then, she uses them. She's got them all the time, right? But she also pets the cat with them, the hand warmers, because she wants the cat. She goes, "Look, how much the cat loves it." So she watches TV, and the cat is laying on Judy, and she got the hand warmers, and she's rubbing the cat with the hand warmers. It's the craziest I've ever seen in my life.
You know what's amazing is no matter what either of us say, we can come up with a story about it.
Well, it's life, man. It's life.
It's crazy.
Yep.
Okay. 2 years ago, I'm out using the snowblower. We had a storm and I'm snow blowing the driveway. And I came in and I said to Pauline, the only thing that really gets cold on me is my hands. Everything else is always fine. My feet are, but it's my hands.
Mm-hmm.
And Pauline swears by hand warmers. And she goes,
"Really?
Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
She gets hand warmers for everybody, has them. If I said so, she could produce hand warmers right now. So one day I'm complaining to her about how cold my hands were. And she said, "Yeah, well, because I wasn't done."
Mm-hmm.
She goes, "Try these hand warmers." I go, if there's a day ever that I would become the ultimate wuss
Mm-hmm.
and use a hand warmer, it's not going to happen. Ever.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm a man.
How dare you?
Testosterone, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Never am I going to use a hand warmer. Ever. Well, one day it's pretty cold. I tried those hand warmers.
Yeah.
It'll change your life.
Oh yeah.
It'll change your life. Yeah. I mean, I feel, not like the ultra testosterone male when I use them, but I don't care.
But
Those things, when I'm out there,
yeah.
snow blowing, those things are unbelievable. I was shocked how good they worked.
In all seriousness, do you still think you have testosterone?
I'm working real hard on it. I said that because I've been reading articles on it. We're in trouble at our age. There's a lot of things you got to do to keep that up.
Really?
Yeah.
Easy now.
Yeah, you just naturally start losing it when you hit your 60s. So
I got to start reading about that. But what the hell are you gonna do about it?
We could do. I've been reading so much. We could do a whole show on testosterone.
Yeah. You ever see an old man fight?
Listen, old men know how to fight.
Some of them, they think in their head they know how to fight until they actually have to fight.
Until they take a swing. Yeah.
Yeah, and then it's like, whoa, dude. Yeah, it's going to end real bad.
Well, we're old men.
Are we?
You and I are old men. Yeah, we're in our 60s.
Yeah,
we're there.
It's hard to believe, man.
But I think we've had this discussion before. You've been in fights, right?
Yeah.
I mean, a good amount of fights. I mean, you went all through Europe fighting everybody that you had to meet.
Only women and people.
In Ireland.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Ireland. Didn't you fight in England too?
Oh, and mostly in Ireland. It's yeah.
Well, kids today don't fight. There's
no
fights anymore. There's sucker punches.
Yes, there you go.
But there's not
two
guys, okay. So yeah, I would say that old guys know how to fight better than the younger generation coming up.
Well, there's a caveat to that. I would say back in our day, if you're a kid growing up when we grew up, there's a 50% chance or more you're going to get in fights. Probably. I would say that's fair. Or probably more. Wouldn't you say 70, 75%?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just going to happen.
Maybe 50.
Okay, say 50%.
Somewhere in between there. Yeah.
Okay. I'd say today it's like 10%.
Yes.
But the difference today is, like you said, one is the sucker punching thing, the knockout punches, or what I love the expression they use in Europe is a coward's punch.
A what?
It's called a coward's punch.
A coward's punch.
And that's more accurately named. But there's the other part too. Is this MMA thing is crazy, man. People watch this MMA stuff and they're extraordinary fighters, man, like crazy fighters. And I don't, their guys are out there though. Like those guys can land in any generation and be trouble. You know what I mean?
Yes, I agree with that.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying the guy who is not a trained professional.
Yeah.
I don't.
Well, here's the thing. There's more and more of these guys watching MMA and thinking that's, I got everything, every punch has got to be a knockout, and every fight has to end in a knockout. The other day, in our day, the fight was, and then, all right, look, I'll give you my lunch money. All right, I'm sorry, it's over. Then you're done. A little bit of humiliation, and you go on with your day. Now it's got to be, the guy's got to be knocked out, or it doesn't count. It's awful. So this has been another episode of On the Floor with Wayne and Rob.
What's the hardest punch you ever took?
Hardest punch I ever took, I never felt. Yeah.
Knocked you out?
Yes.
Whoa.
Yes. 100%.
Yep. Sucker punch, or was it a fight punch?
No, it was a pretty good left hook. I did not see that coming. And that was a straight up knockout. Yep. So.
Oh man, where was I? How old were you?
I was 15.
Damn.
Yep.
Rung your belt. Older kid, bigger kid, same size.
Much older. Yeah. Much older.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yep. But it's okay.
Did you have it coming?
No, I didn't have it coming. I did not and deserve it in the slightest.
I had mine coming. The one I got, I had it coming for sure. During a hockey game, I picked a fight with a guy just because I didn't like the way he looked.
Well, that'll do it. And you had it coming.
Yep. And I go, that guy, even before the game started, I go, he's a dead man. And I squared off with him in front of our own net, where you're not supposed to pick a fight in front of your own net.
I didn't know that.
No, you don't pick a fight in front of your net. You pick a fight in front of their net. That way you can score more goals.
Oh, because
you're supposed to keep everything clean in front of your net.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
That's what the coach was screaming at me about too. You don't pick a fight in front of your own net. Huh. I was like, oh, I didn't know that. Huh. You pay attention to what's going on.
Okay.
Now, don't get me wrong. There are fights that will happen in front of your net, but you don't go picking one in front of your own net. That's what the coach told me anyways. So I dropped my gloves. He dropped his gloves. And before I could get one punch in, this guy hit me in the face so hard. The explanation is it's like somebody took a telephone pole and the end of the telephone pole and just smashed me in the face with it. Like,
wow.
His fist had to be the size of a pumpkin. That's what it felt like.
Wow.
My whole face hurt. And one of the guys on my team said he was laughing. He was laughing about it. And he goes, I've never seen anybody go down swinging the way you were swinging. He goes, but when people say you went down swinging, you really did go down swinging, but it was hysterical because it was a one-punch fight. One punch. I didn't get knocked out, but he laid me out. I was on the ground. My face hurt so bad from this one punch that now everybody jumped in, and all I could think of was, please stop this fight. Please.
Yeah, I've had enough.
Please get this guy off of me. And then I had the balls to go up to this guy after the game and go, hey man, no problems, right? We're cool.
Yeah.
Because I never wanted to get, because we were going to play this team another time, it was a small beer league.
Yeah.
So I was like, I never, ever.
All right. What we're going to talk about today, Rob, is speaking of old and tools and some of the oldest tools that you still see on job sites today. And it's amazing how much industry has changed in the last few years, and really one of them, believe it or not, is electric tools. One day I think people are going to say, "Gosh, remember when they use electric tools for everything?" Look at all the battery powered stuff that's out there now. My brothers don't use any cords to their any of their chop saws or table saws, undercut saws. It's all battery now. Isn't that something?
The amazing part about that is, there was a time in my life where if somebody bought me a battery operated tool, I was pissed at them. Like,
Yeah,
they're worthless. Okay.
yeah.
Don't ever waste your money again. I don't build models. Okay.
Mhm.
I do man's work and I need a man's tool. Men's tools you plug in. Okay. To me, the first battery stuff I thought it was worthless. But
100%. Yeah,
today, the battery stuff that they have today from the first stuff that came out, wow, couldn't be
yeah.
more blown away.
I thought these were like for DUI or DIY, do it yourself, DIY folks when they first came
Do
out.
it yourself.
Yeah,
DIY. Yeah.
yeah. Like I don't want. I'm a professional, man. I want.
Yes. Yes.
But now, like you said, the batteries are so much better and last so much longer and so much stronger. I think one day that there's going to be like, man, and the reason my brothers went that direction is they do a lot of for general contractors. That there's no everybody's fighting over that one cord on the job.
Yeah.
It's yeah, it's painful.
It's amazing how it's amazing the change that I've seen in that. If you're going to talk about biggest changes, I would definitely say that was probably in your top three.
Yeah, and that's only in the last number of years, 5 years or so, that it's really going swing in that direction.
Like when
Oh,
they came out with battery operated skill saws and everything, I mean, I never thought we'd see the day on
no,
that ever.
I didn't think I would ever go that direction. I was to me, nope, I'm not interested.
Like a
But now,
battery operated chop saw. Who ever thought that we
yeah,
would ever see a battery operated chop saw?
yeah,
Ever.
all the hassle with the cords and all that stuff is so much easier and everything that man, it's really changed the game. So I think electric tools is going to be on that list pretty quick.
Definitely.
I'm going to go with you want me to go another one, or you want to do another one?
I'll go because I don't want you to take mine.
I know what it's going to be.
I know what you're getting. What is
Yeah,
it?
drum sanders. Drum sanders.
Yeah, you took it. There you go.
Well, you asked me.
Thank
said-
you, everybody.
You
This
said,
has
"What
been
is it?"
another episode of On the Floor with Wayne and Rob.
You said.
Stay tuned for our next episode.
Oh my God!
The drum sander.
Really?
Yeah, drum sanders. And people are still using them.
Yep.
I am shocked how many people are still using drum sanders that come to the class.
And you know something? Not a damn thing wrong with them.
No.
Yep.
I'll tell you what, you add the power drive to a drum sander,
Mm-hmm.
all that double-sided disc or steel plates that we had to use to, buff out chatter
Yep.
marks.
Yep.
Man, now you just hit that with
Yeah.
your power drive. You're golden.
The addition
You're golden.
of
Think about if we had the power drive back
Yeah.
when we were running drum sanders. How
Yeah.
much how do you say this? How much less work? How much less? How little work we would have to do? I mean, half the sand job of using a drum sander was getting the chatter marks out.
yeah, yeah, and the other half was worrying about them. Are they are they going to be noticeable? I think they're not going to be noticeable. I think you won't see it after the first coat. I think from this direction you won't see them. Well, maybe.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if
Whatever
you
you
have,
do, don't look at that in the sunlight. Okay.
I think the power drive, or the old drum sander standards can give a nod to the power drive because they've kept them going. I really do think that. Now, listen, there's a lot of guys that my brothers still use a drum sander, and they can fine tune that thing in like no other, and it runs great, and whatever. But one of the downside was the chatter marks. I mean, let's face it. I mean, there's a lot that goes into that. We know what causes chatter marks and what doesn't cause it, whatever. But
If you put the paper on right,
Well,
You
that's
know,
part of it.
too
Yeah,
many people would over tighten that drum paper
yeah. You got to back
and
it
then
off.
make the slot 2 inches rather than a half an inch.
Yeah,
And that, so it wasn't like you would eliminate the chatter mark, but you could make them
yeah.
much smaller and easier to get out.
Yes, but they always nagged at you, right? I mean,
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
you always had to consider them. So I think the power drive will actually keep those sanders around. You can feel better about having your drum sander because of the power drive. I think, in my opinion, my brothers they power drive every single job now, and they are as old school as it gets. So yeah, I agree with you. Drum sander is what probably one of the oldest tools you'll see on a job site now, and I never knock them. I always say it's the guy behind the machine. You know how to use your machine. You know how that machine runs and how to dial that in, and it's the guy behind the machine. So, and now a lot of those issues that you may get from that machine, a power drive will knock out. So
You're right. We just breathed new life into a drum sander.
I think so.
You throw a power drive in with a drum sander,
Hmm.
man, oh man.
So
There you
you can
go.
you can hang on to that machine a hell of a lot longer.
Yeah.
And I will never knock them. I mean, I know guys sometimes knock them, and and some of the hey, listen, we sell machines too, and the bright shiny new bells and everything. But damn it, I see I almost give a nod of respect when I see a guy who runs an old drum sander. A lot of times I think that's probably a pretty damn good floor sander right there.
You know who doesn't knock them? The
Ooh,
guys who are running them.
yeah.
I think the guys who are knocking them are guys who have never run one before, or maybe tried to attempt to put paper on or something. But
What what the belt sanders did for the industry, I think it made it a quicker curve to get a guy up to sanding a floor. Because even just putting the belt on, like you're right, loading the drum sander with paper is a bit of an art. You know what
that
I
was
mean?
70%.
Yes. You
That was
tighten it up.
70% of learning how to run the drum sander was getting the paper on. I had an old timer who was training us, Charlie Duran, the old most miserable old Frenchman you ever met in your life. And he said he would say that to all the new guys, 70% of this machine is learn how to get the paper on. The rest
Yeah.
is easy.
You put the shim in there and you back it off, and it's the right grit shim, the whole
That's
9 yards, cutting the paper. And then when the belt sanders came along, you just simply slide a belt in, close the door, snap it, boom, you're going. So they did. They helped the industry out. I actually don't knock belt sanders either. By the way, they've been good for the industry. And if I had a company where I had 10 guys working for me, and I had a choice between buying drum sanders or belt sanders, I buy the belt sander because I think it's more consistent. It's easier to get guys up to speed, in my opinion. But I will never knock a drum sander. And some of these belt sanders, shoot, Wayne, some of these drum sanders have been on the job now for many generations.
Oh, yeah.
So
Oh, my God, yeah.
what an amazing tool. I mean, whatever they cost back in the day, talk about an investment that pays off and what have you. Back in the day, you bought that thing for, I mean, depending on how far you go back, I mean, $1,200, and you're using that machine for 30 years.
Did you ever see a machine called the Porter Cable F89?
I had a Porter cable, but I don't know what model it was.
Okay, so back in the day, it was the Porter Cable F89, which then turned into I think it was a Clark 504, same exact kind of setup, chassis and everything. It just got bigger. And then
Okay.
Galaxies turned into the 504.
Yeah, yeah.
They were all, because at one time at my showroom at Hoboken, I set all three machines next to each other, and they were exactly
Hmm.
the same machine, just bigger.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Same
yeah.
chassis, same frame, same head pressure adjustment. It was funny. Anyways, we had this old Porter Cable F89 that was literally it was in milk crates. Okay, it was just pieces, parts in milk crates. So I put it together. Put it all together, put a new drum on it, shined it up. And now remember that little machine, that little F89? It had the
Yep.
switch on it for 120,
Yes, 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 yes,
110, and
yes.
220, right?
Yep, yep.
Well, that machine is still used today in New York City.
Hmm.
There's some guys who love that machine because it's
Yeah,
small enough to get into elevators and stuff,
yeah.
but it still packs a wallop. It's
Hmm.
still a 220 sander. So when you're saying about how how long these things last, okay, I put it together. Like I said, cleaned it up, painted it. I ended up selling it for $1,500, and this was years and years ago, early 2000s. Right, I sold it for $1,500. And I said to, I saw my grandfather, I don't know, a few weeks later, and I said, "Hey, Grandpa, you know that old F-89 that was in the milk crates?" I put it together, sold it for $1,500. He said, "Oh, I think I paid $600 for that brand new."
Yeah, yeah, yep. I was on vacation one time in Kentucky, and a friend of a friend was there, and I, told him I did hardwood floors. He goes, "Oh man," he goes, "My uncle does hardwood floors. He's the only one that does them around here, and he doesn't want to do them anymore. He's got a machine he wants to sell." So I said, "All right, I'll look at it." It was a 12-inch American, the old 12-inch, the big heavy ones. He had that. He had a black cord with it, and he had a brand new box of 80 grit and 100 grit. And I went, the machine looked like it was in good shape. I said, "What do you want for it?" He goes, "Man, I got to get $300."
Oh,
I said, "All right, you can do that." And
oh.
we used it for 20 some odd years and sold it for $3,800 when we were
I
done
was
with
just
it.
gonna say, when you said $300, any gym guy who was driving at the time almost
Yeah,
drove off the road when he heard
yeah.
that.
And the rolls of paper, almost complete roll, almost a full roll of 80 grit and 100 grit. I
Oh
mean,
my
that alone
gosh!
was worth half that. So,
Now that was a 12-inch American Lincoln.
yeah,
I think you've seen the old picture of me running one of those.
yeah, yeah.
Now, not the rear wheel, but the other two wheels, the two
Hmm.
chassis wheels.
Yeah.
Were they single wheels or dual
They were
wheels?
single wheels. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, yeah.
because we used to run that had dual wheels on the bowling alley, so you could hang
Hmm.
the drum over the edge
Nice.
and get a nice full
Yeah,
cut on each
yeah.
side.
I've seen them. Um, so okay, so
So mine was a drum sander. What do
yeah.
you got next?
Travel points. Travel points, just like the drum sander, they're timeless. Um, I mean, with all the lasers and all the other stuff, you'll never get more accurate than a set of travel points. And I think you can get a set for $20 or $28. I mean, you can get some really fancy, nice ones, but holy smokes, man! I mean, if you're doing layout, you can't bet, especially herringbone or any of those type of chevron floors or whatever. You can't beat a set of travel points. It's a must-have, and they're as old as time, and they will always be on a job site. Nothing will replace them.
Isn't
So,
it amazing how many chevron and herringbone floors are being put in now?
mhm.
I am blown away by it.
Yeah,
I am just
I love
shocked
it.
how that thing came back.
Yep. It's one of the changes in the industry. We've gotten away
Yeah.
from borders. Guys don't do borders anymore. Or if they do, it's like one 8-inch wide plank around the floor or whatever. You don't, you'll see some borders, but not a lot. It's so these open concept rooms, big open rooms. So where do you put your craftsmanship? Where do you do something different to separate yourself? And one way guys are finding to do it is chevron floors and herringbone floors. And I just think they're sensational, man. So, and guys in Europe, I love watching YouTube videos of installers across the country doing things differently. And I'm amazed sometimes. I'll see someone in some country using the most ragtag, most World War III, World War One equipment, and I mean just garbage, and turning out beautiful floors with it. You know what I mean? And you can say them doing herringbone is so second nature to them that they're just like boom, boom, boom. It's automatic. They don't even think about it, and because they've been doing it for so long. And now in America now we're seeing more guys doing herringbone floors and getting past the discomfort of doing them and getting that comfort zone and learning how important layout is and everything and staying online. And so yeah, I love it.
We We did a school in Mexico City, oh, years and years and years ago. And it was done through the NWFA. I was one of the instructors, and our equipment never made it through the border. All our sanding equipment. So when we were done the installation part, we still had no, you know, and we had like 80 to 100 people coming to these classes, and we're like, what the hell are we going to do? So that night that we finished all the install, we said to the class, hey, if there's anybody who has, some sanding equipment, we sure could use a hand. All our stuff is hung up at the border. So one guy raises his hand. He tells the translator, yeah, tell these guys I have an edger. Another guy, he raised his hand. He's got a buffer. And then another guy said, I can bring in my drum sander. So I was like, oh, okay, we got one set of equipment for 80 people, but here we go. So the guys start coming in to the next day at the class. The guy who said he had an edger handed me a grinder.
Oh my gosh.
That's what he sands floors with, is a grinder.
Wow.
Okay. Now the other guy brings in an old buffer, but it was an old buffer. It was fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But then a guy brings in a floor sander, 8-inch sander that was made by Otis Elevator.
Wow.
Okay. And the switch on it was like, when you see somebody in the old movies, they got the kill switch when they're going to electrocute somebody in the chair, and they got the boom, right?
Yeah.
He had a miniature one of those on his machine, and that's how he turned it on. So when you flip the thing, it would arc, right, and go. And Daniel Boone, I was with Daniel Boone in that school, and Boone looks at me and he goes, now we're going to show him how American sand a floor with anything. And I'll never forget that. As long as I live, I was like, I'm thinking, we are screwed. Mm-hmm. And Boone is like, no way. We are going to show them that an American can sand a floor. That's what we're here for. And it ended up being one of the best schools ever. And we did it with Mexican equipment and still made those floors look good.
Nice. And and hats off to people that don't have, and I almost admire them more, that I used to see people with some primitive equipment that are just turning out gold, man, gems. And so it's pretty cool to see. All right. Lamb's wool applicators. With all the new technology out there are still times when my brother John will break out a lamb's wool applicator, and it still blows me away today. And he does a beautiful job with them. Now, he's probably got, I would bet you right now, he's got a lamb's wool applicator that he has going for probably years. Because once we got them broken in back in the day, when we used them from day to day, we would break them in, we would get a brand new one, we would put it in a washing machine and dry it, get all the fuzz off it. Put it on the block, take a cigarette lighter, and hit it with a cigarette lighter, get all the fuzzy stuff off of it. Then we would put it on the first coat, never trusted on the second coat for a long time before it was like, all right, I trust this one now. And once you get it, broken in, well, you always kept it in poly, and you just, put it in the can, and that was your one. And if you ever
never took it out of the poly.
Yep.
Always stored it in the poly, never cleaned it, nothing.
And through all technology, trim pads, T-bars, heavyweight T-bars, roller covers, all the brushes, the lamb's wool still hanging in there.
Well, Pete and my son still use lamb's wool. If they're doing a poly job,
yeah,
they're doing a lot more water now, tons more water, but there's still some people out there that want poly, and they, as many times as I showed them in gyms and everything, how no, just use a heavyweight T-bar with the poly. No, they're still lamb's wool guys.
Yep.
Still a lamb's wool guy. So yeah, they're still using it. You go back to the lamb's wool when Robbie Smith from our tech department, PM department, he called me. We were talking about the red out, and he goes, I've been using a Water Whiz. to apply this stuff.
Hmm.
And I go, boy, I haven't heard that term in
Yeah.
20 something years. Right. And here's another reason I just love this kid. He's an old soul.
Hmm.
He's the new generation of us, but he's still an old guy at heart, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And he says to me, you know, sometimes to go forward, you got to look back. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Did you really just say that?
Yeah.
And we laughed, but I was like, oh, this kid's an old soul. But I was like, where the hell can I even get a water whiz? And so we got the water whiz and worked pretty good. But some of the people in the class were like, what the hell's a water whiz? And I said, well, it's the lamb's wool block. And then one kid looks at me and he goes, what's a lamb's wool block? And I was like, all right. So,
Yeah.
all right, now I know where I'm starting with you guys. Yeah.
Hmm. Yep. Yep. Good stuff. All right, Rob, you got
You
one?
remember, that's how we all started laying water base.
With lamb's wool?
No, with taking the lamb's wool off and putting on the foam pad on the block.
Mm, I can't.
Or did you go right to the
I think you went right to T-bar. Yeah. Yeah. You
Oh.
know something?
Because
Now,
we had trouble getting T-bars for a while, so we were using the water whiz.
if you go out to California right now, there are guys that are using a lamb's wool, or not a lamb's wool, but an applicator that a lot of guys don't see and do a fantastic jobs with it. And what it is, they take like a squeegee, like a window squeegee, and you take the material off of a T-bar, off the foam, like a block, like you're talking about, and
Yeah.
they cut it like an inch strip of it, just an inch, and put it in the squeegee, and they're using that instead of T-bars and instead of any other. That's their way of coating the floor and turning out some beautiful jobs.
What Bona guy showed? Was that Larry? Larry Steven?
Excuse, did you just say what Bona guy showed me that?
Yeah.
No, I've known that way before I went to work for Bona.
No. But I just recently saw. I think it was
If
Larry
you
Steven.
saw it, you probably saw it from Larry Steven because he is in California. I think
Yeah.
this. I'm going to say this started in California, but someone could call him BS on that. But I think that's where it started, and probably the only place they're really doing it, and it works. So, and what guys really like about it is backing out of a room with it. It does real well.
I'm telling you, I swear, I think Larry Stevens was showing us this, working with Nordic Seal and Natural Seal.
Okay,
That
good.
same thing that you're talking about. Yeah,
Interesting.
I think.
Okay. All right, Rob, you want to go next?
What did we do? Lamb's wool?
Lamb's wool, Trammel points,
Lamb's
Drum-
wool.
drum-
No, you go next.
Drum Sanders. Well, and they're almost dead, completely dead. Is the best nailer that's ever been in our industry, bar none. There has never been a better nailer than a Kavanaugh nailer.
Every listener knows what a Kavanaugh nailer is just because of you. The people from Kavanaugh should be sending you some money because I know people are going to. Can you still buy them?
The people
Where are
from
they
the people from Kavanaugh have been dead long time ago. You have to know somebody who's got one because you can't. You finally they're done. You can't get it. There's actually a lady and her husband out in California. They still use them. Nikki, she's on TikTok under Nikki Hardwood, NIKKIHARDWOOD. So it's at Nikki Hardwood. But if you use a Kavanaugh nailer, here's a mistake people make: is they run it off a regular compressor, and they're running boom 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 as fast as they can pull the trigger. They're doing it right. The problem is that compressor has to cycle, so you're getting full pressure a lot of the times until it cycles down, and then you're not getting enough pressure. It's not setting the boards good enough, or the nail isn't getting driven deep enough. So if you do that type of floor, you should have the wheelbarrow type compressor. Unless you're slower and you work by yourself, maybe whatever. But if you're humping, making time, you want a bigger compressor with the two tanks.
The M glow. The
there you
blue
go.
M glow.
The blue M glow. Yes.
Yes,
So,
the dual tanks. Like
You know,
It's got like the dolly system. You pick it up and
Yes,
roll it around the
yes,
one wheel. Yeah, yeah.
yes,
The wheel.
yes, yes.
Yes. Yep.
Yep. So much better system than using it off a regular.
Well, you don't
Uh,
see those on the job anymore. When's the last time you saw an M Glow?
my brother's job,
They still use them?
and that's the secret. And people try to cinch them up too much. They cinch them up tight, and you used to be able to do that with a Kavanaugh because it nailed so good. But now the nailers are different now, so you just can't over cinch the floor, and use that compressor, and it does a great job. So
We had a bunch
I
of
ju-
those. That was a good compressor. We had those forever.
that what I just explained was important to about 10 people. So that technology, unfortunately, is on its way out. So
Well, how are they going to top nail floors? Well, you said
There-
there's somebody that has a nailer out there who'll do it.
well, no, I mean they're going to have to use. There's a nailer, there's a nail kill. Yeah, there is. I won't mention the brand, but there is a particular brand out there. But I really don't think there's a good solution in my book. But you have to use the Senko type nailer, top nailer. We used to. I don't like the way the nail. I don't like the size of the nail hole it leads in the floor, and I don't like the shape of the nail hole. So if I were switching to a Senko, I would take the set out, and I would take a file to it and file it, make it smaller. The problem is then sometimes it skips a little bit more, but that's way too much information for this show. But that's what
Well,
I
those
do.
10 people are going to be pretty happy.
Yeah, yes. There you go. Okay. You can go back to manual nailers that still have a place in this job in our industry. Guys still use manual nailers. So it's not your everyday nailer. It's certainly not for everybody, but there are times when it's not a bad idea to bring them out to a job.
Well,
So,
it's funny you said that because I was at a garage sale over the summer and they had a porter nailer there. Remember the gray porter nailer?
yes, yes.
And
yeah.
that was one of the first pieces of equipment Peter and I bought when we left the family business. We bought a brand new porter nailer. And $5 I got it for. And I just can't wait to have my grandsons nail in some floors using that machine.
I'll be darned.
That's why I bought it. Yeah.
That's cool.
That'll be fun.
All right. And then, of course, there's a lot of old guys left on the job. Let's face it. These tools, some of them don't ever wear out, but floor guys do. And, we see that the average age now for contractors is like 50. I heard 52, and I've heard 56, whatever. It's up there. And so take care of yourselves, man, because, I just talked to another guy who's having a shoulder surgery. So whatever you can do to give some longevity to your career, even if it's another 5 years, can make all the difference in the world to a lot of people economically in your business, in your life. To stretch it out your career another 5 years or 6 years or whatever, and not cut your career short. So wearing the proper knee pads, using the ear protection, man, and you owe it to yourself. And I see a lot of videos of young guys that are studs, man, really strong guys that are not using knee pads. I swear to you, it will come back to bite you. I know you don't feel it today. I know you don't. It doesn't seem like it's going to get you, but I promise you it will. So you've got to take care of your knees and your body, because like these machines we just rattled off, you wear out. Your body parts will wear out. So and by switching to some of the new technology, I'm going to bring up Power Drive because it gets you off your knees. Okay, it can add time to your career. And so using some of these new systems out there, taking care of your body,
keeping those testosterone levels up good and high.
You want to get them up good and high for sure.
Yes.
We sometimes joke around with PSA announcements also, Rob and I, but we live longer and have to work longer, and expected life expectancy is longer than they have ever been. So you don't want to outwork your body or outlive your body. You know what I mean? You want to be useful to the end. So we're sometimes not very good at taking care of ourselves, but it's important to do that. So I think I've had to do it myself. Lifestyle changes me. I don't eat the way I did 20 years ago. I don't eat the way I did 10 years ago. So I've had to do some changes. So take care of yourselves, man. thanks for listening to us again for this episode. And Rob, you got anything else you need to add?
No, wrap it up.
Wrap it up. All right. So thank you very much. This has been another episode of On the Floor with Wayne and Rob. Please stay tuned for another episode.